The knife was in my hand. The cake was soft and sweet. People clapped and laughed. They were singing, "Happy birthday to you." But all I could think was, this house still smells like secrets. My name is Lena Matthews and I'm 35 years old. I hadn't been in my mother's house in over 20 years. But here I was, smiling like everything was okay. My mom stood next to me. Her lipstick was too red. Her smile was too wide. She held my hand like she loved me. But I knew better. She only invited me because she said she wanted to fix things. She begged me to bring my daughter, Emma. She said she missed her granddaughter. She said she had changed. I wanted to believe her. But I never did. As the party went on, I watched the people around me. Old family friends. Some cousins. Few neighbors. But the house felt cold. Not cold like ice. Cold like the way your heart feels when you know something bad is about to happen. Emma was upstairs, drawing in one of the guest rooms. I didn't want her near my mother too much. I told her to stay in her room and lock the door. She was only 8, but she was smart. Smarter than most adults I knew. Then it happened. My phone buzzed in my purse. I reached in and pulled it out. It was a call. From Emma. I smiled politely at the people around me and stepped away toward the hallway. "Hello, sweetie," I whispered. Her voice came through fast. Scared. Shaky. "Mom, get out of the house. Now." My heart stopped. "What?" I said, trying not to sound panicked. She whispered again. "Grandma was in the garage with a man. I saw them through the vent. She said you won't wake up this time." I pressed my back against the wall. I felt my legs start to shake. "What else did you see?" I asked. "She poured something into your wine glass," Emma said. She laughed. She said it would be like the accident all over again. I looked back into the room. My wine glass was still on the table, half full. Untouched. Suddenly, my eyes landed on him. A man in a black jacket. He stood near the edge of the kitchen, staring right at me. Bald. Scar under his right eye. He smiled. But not like a friend. Not like someone happy to see me. He smiled like a man who knew something I didn't. And worse. Like a man who had seen me before. I remembered him. He used to come to this house when I was a little girl. Always at night. Always quiet. He was there the night my brother, Tommy, disappeared. I never forgot his face. I had told the police back then. But no one listened. They said I was dreaming. That I made it up. But I didn't. I gripped the phone tighter. "Emma, are you safe?" I asked. "I'm in the closet now," she whispered. "I locked the door like you taught me. I have the plan with me." Plan. Then I remembered. Before we left for Grandma's house, Emma gave me a folded piece of paper. She said it was a drawing. Said I had to keep it safe. I reached into my purse. Pulled it out. Opened it slowly. It wasn't just a drawing. It was a map. Of the house. Rooms. Lines. Arrows. And in red ink X marks. One near the garage. One behind the bookshelf. Another near the kitchen wine rack. And next to each X, Emma had written in big letters. Poison. Hidden camera. Trap door. My hands started shaking. This wasn't just a kid's game. Emma had been watching. Learning. Protecting me. All this time I thought I was protecting her. But now she was the one saving me. I took a deep breath. Walked back into the living room like nothing happened. The man was gone. So was my wine glass. My mother walked over. She smiled and touched my hair. "Isn't it nice being back home?" she said. Her voice was sweet like honey. But her eyes were sharp like knives. Smiled back. "Yeah. It's just like old times," I said. Even though I wanted to scream. My eyes moved toward the garage door. It was open a little. Someone had just been there. The man, probably. I touched the drawing again in my purse. This wasn't just a party. This was a trap. And somehow, my 8-year-old daughter had known all along. I walked through the living room, pretending everything was normal. My mother was laughing with her friends. People were eating, dancing, smiling. but I could feel something crawling under my skin. My daughter's voice stayed in my ears. Get out of the house now. I needed to get to her. I needed to leave. But I also needed to be smart. If I ran out now, they'd know. If I grabbed Emma and rushed out, they'd try to stop me. Had to wait. I had to play their game, until it was my turn to win. I stepped into the hallway and looked at the drawing again. It was not a child's picture. It was a warning. Emma had marked places I forgot even existed. Small secret doors behind the pantry. A loose tile in the dining room that opened into a crawlspace. A broken pipe in the basement that leaked water where the bones of our past were buried. She had written things like, "Red bottle equals poison. Camera inside teddy bear. Don't drink the red wine." How did she know all this? Then I remembered. Emma always asked me stories about my childhood. She liked hearing the parts where I was brave, where I escaped bad things. But I never told her everything. Or at least, I thought I didn't. Maybe she had been listening more than I realized. Maybe she had been watching me, just like I watched my mother years ago. When I was little, I used to sneak into my brother Tommy's room. We would make up games to hide from Mom when she got angry. We had signs, codes, little drawings under the carpet. One day, he was just gone. My mom said he ran away. I never believed her. But I was too scared to ask questions. Now, all these years later, Emma had picked up where I left off. I looked back into the living room. My wine glass was gone. My stomach twisted. Had someone already poured it? Had someone touched it? Was I too late? Then I saw him. The man with the scar. He was leaning against the doorway near the kitchen, watching me, smiling again. His eyes followed me like shadows. He lifted his glass like a toast. I walked closer, pretending to look for my phone. When I got near, I said softly, "Who are you?" He smiled deeper. "You don't remember me," he said. "I used to help around the house. When you were young. Clean the garage. Fix the pipes." I stared at him. "I remember. You were here the night my brother disappeared." His smile never changed. But his voice got quiet. "That night never happened, Lena. That's what your mother told the police, right?" I wanted to punch him. Instead, I nodded like I agreed. But inside, my heart was beating like drums. He leaned closer. "She said you were sick. Said you liked to make up stories." He chuckled. "Maybe that's still true." I walked away without another word. If I stayed longer, I might lose control. I needed to check on Emma. But I couldn't go upstairs yet. Someone was watching me. So I headed to the dining room where the gift table was. Sat down. Pretended to tie my shoe. I opened the map again. There was a red X drawn right next to the corner cabinet. Next to it, Emma had written, "Old vent equals voices." I stood up and walked to the corner. Pushed the cabinet slightly. And there it was. The vent. Leaned close. And what I heard made my blood run cold. "It'll be fast," a man's voice said. "She drinks it, she sleeps. By morning she's gone. No mess. Just like before." Then my mother's voice. Wheat. Edley. "She always was too curious. Just like Tommy." Then the man laughed. "She'll go like the rest." I stepped back slowly. I couldn't breathe. They weren't just trying to scare me. They were planning to kill me. Just like they did to my brother. Maybe even my dad. I turned and walked quickly toward the staircase. But someone grabbed my arm. It was my mother. Her smile was big, but her eyes were cold. "Leaving so soon," she said. "We haven't even done the toast." Forced a laugh. "Just need a minute." "Got a headache," I said. "Too much sugar." Let go. But I could feel her watching me. All the way up the stairs. When I reached Emma's room, I knocked once, softly. "Code word," she said from behind the door. "Marshmallow," I whispered. She opened the door quickly and pulled me in. The closet was open. Inside, she had a little camera set up. Notebook. Toys with wires inside. "What is all this?" asked. Emma looked up at me. "I heard them. A long time ago. They talk loud when they think no one is listening. Her voice was soft, strong, older than her age. I felt tears in my eyes. She took my hand. I didn't want to scare you, so I made the map. So you'd know. Emma, I said, kneeling beside her. You're the bravest girl I've ever known. She nodded. I know where the camera is in the living room. I know where the trapdoor is. The one under the basement stairs. I looked at her, surprised. Did you tell anyone else? She shook her head. No. Only you. She reached into her little backpack and pulled out a button with wires. What's that? Asked. She whispered. It's a silent alarm. You told me if anything bad ever happened, to press it. It goes to Agent Drew's phone. I stared at her in shock. You remembered that? She nodded. I never forget. I held her close, then stood up. We're almost done, Emma. I just need one more thing. She looked up. What? I gave her a small smile. Proof. I stepped out of Emma's room and closed the door gently. My heart was heavy, but my mind was sharp. It was time to end this. I took a deep breath and walked downstairs. The party was still going. Music, laughter, mail, oh fake, oh loud. But beneath the noise I saw the truth. Eyes that watched me too closely. Glasses filled with danger. A house packed with memories too painful to hold. I walked to the hallway near the basement. According to Emma's map, there was something hidden there. Trapdoor behind the stairs. I needed to see it for myself. But first, I needed help. I pulled out my phone and typed quickly. A message to Agent Drew. The man I had been working with for 6 months. The only one who ever believed me. Lena. Code red. I need backup. She's trying again. Agent Drew. Stay calm. Team en route. Day 10 minutes. Wait for the signal. 10 minutes. I had to survive 10 more minutes. Play the game. Keep smiling. I walked to the living room and pretended to check the gift table again. I passed the wine glasses. I saw the red one. Green. Still full. Still untouched. I knew what was inside. I didn't need to taste it. My mother's trick was always the same. Sweet on the outside, poison on the inside. I turned and walked toward the back of the house. To the basement door. Had to be quick. I opened it slowly and stepped down. The stairs creaked. The air was cold and dusty. Counted the steps. In. 11. And then I saw it. Just like Emma marked on the map. A loose wood panel under the stairs. I bent down and pulled. It opened with a soft click. Behind it, a small dark space. And inside that space, box. An old metal box. Covered in dust. I pulled it out and opened it. Inside were photos. Letters. Old police documents. Even pieces of clothing. And then, necklace. Rusty. With a blue pendant. My brother's. I knew it the moment I saw it. He wore it every day. He cried when he thought he lost it once. But it never left his neck. Until the night he disappeared. I touched it gently. Then I saw the back. Scratch. With what looked like dried blood. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I had found it. The thing I had searched for my whole life. The proof. That he didn't run away. That he didn't just vanish. He was taken. And buried under lies. I placed the necklace into my purse. Took pictures of everything else with my phone. Then I closed the panel, walked up the stairs and shut the door. Back in the living room, my mother stood near the cake. She held a new glass of wine in her hand. The red one. Lena, she said, smiling sweetly. Come. Let's have a toast. I walked over slowly. Took the glass. I didn't drink. I looked around the room. The scar-faced man was back, standing behind her. Next to him. Someone new. Tall man. Wearing a brown coat. And a badge on his chest. My blood ran cold. I knew that badge. He was a detective. Or at least he looked like one. He stepped closer to my mother and whispered something in her ear. She nodded slightly. Then he turned to me. Everything all right, Miss Matthews? I forced a smile. Lovely evening, I said. Lots of family memories. He nodded. His eyes scanned my purse. He knew. He knew I had the box. I had to keep stalling. I looked around the room. Where was Emma? Then I saw her, standing at the top of the stairs. Brave. Her eyes locked on mine. She gave me a tiny nod. In her hand, the button. The silent alarm. My hand shook just a little. But I raised the wine glass. And I spoke loudly. Can I have everyone's attention, please? The music stopped. People turned to me. Smiling. Curious. Smiled back. I just want to say. I took a deep breath. This house has always held memories. Some sweet. I looked at my mother. Some not so sweet. She tilted her head. Her eyes narrowed. I raised my glass higher. And tonight we drink to truth. Justice. To family secrets, finally coming to light. I looked at Emma. She pressed the button. I set the glass down without drinking. And smiled. I placed the wine glass on the table. Carefully. Only. The room was quiet. Too quiet. People looked confused. Some laughed nervously. My mother's eyes stared into mine. And then, the front door burst open. Men in black uniforms ran in. Guns pointed down. Voices shouting. FBI. Everybody stay where you are. People screamed. Chairs fell. Wine glasses broke. My mother didn't move. She just stood still. Her red lipstick no longer looked bright. Looked like blood. The man with the scar tried to run. But 2 agents tackled him near the hallway. He hit the ground hard. Didn't smile this time. The detective with the badge. He pulled out a gun. Pointed it at me. But someone behind him yelled. Drop it. Agent Drew. He was here. Real and ready. The fake detective turned and fired. 1 shot. Then 2. But he missed. He was hit in the leg and dropped to the floor screaming. Emma ran down the stairs straight into my arms. I held her tight. I kissed her head. It's over, I whispered. You did it. Agent Drew walked toward us. He nodded once. Then he turned to the agents. Search the house. Start with the basement. I grabbed my purse and pulled out the old metal box. Opened it. Showed him the photos, the papers, the necklace. He looked inside and froze. This is more than enough. He gave the signal. The agents rushed down the basement stairs. My mother still hadn't moved. Her face was stone. Her eyes were fire. You think you've won, she said softly. You think they'll believe you. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. 'Cause just then, one of the agents shouted from the basement. We found something. Everyone turned. The agent came up slowly, holding a small cloth bag. Inside, the rest of the necklace pieces. More blood, all dried, and bones, wrapped in old sheets. Tiny letters stitched in one corner. Tommy Matthews. I covered Emma's eyes. The room went silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Agent Drew turned to my mother. Margaret Matthews. You're under arrest for the murder of your son, Tommy Matthews, and attempted murder of your daughter, Lena Matthews. He read her rights. But she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just laughed. Cold, sharp, echoing laugh. As the agents handcuffed her, she looked at me. You were always weak, she said. You needed your little girl to fight your battle. I stepped closer. No, I said. I became strong when I realized I had someone to protect. You used to scare me. Now I just pity you. Her eyes flared, but she said nothing. They pulled her away. Out of her house. Out of our lives. The party was over. The guests had all left in fear. Some cried. Some whispered. But I didn't care. I only cared about Emma. We sat outside on the steps, holding hands. The sun was setting. The lights of the police cars flashed behind us. Emma leaned her head on my shoulder. Is Grandma going to prison forever? She asked. I nodded slowly. Yes, baby. She won't hurt anyone ever again. Emma closed her eyes. Good. Tommy can rest now. I looked at her surprised. You knew his name. She nodded. I heard you whisper it in your sleep. You missed him. I hugged her tight. I did. But you brought him justice. You saved me. You saved us. That night we didn't go home right away. Agent Drew took us to a safe place. A hotel with soft lights and quiet halls. I tucked Emma into bed. Kissed her goodnight. But I didn't sleep. I sat by the window, watching the stars. I thought about the house, the basement, the blood. I thought about my mother's smile, how it always hid knives. But most of all, I thought about my daughter, years old, braver than I had ever been. Smart, fearless, kind. She didn't just break the chain. She shattered it. The next morning I got a call from Agent Drew. He said reporters were already asking questions, that the news would spread fast, that more evidence had been found. He said, "This isn't just one case, Lena. Your mother might have hurt more people." Closed my eyes. Tears slipped down my cheeks. But not from pain, from relief. The curse was broken. A week later we stood in court. Testified. Emma sat beside me. The room was quiet as I told our story. Of a mother who wore red lipstick and hid secrets. Of a house that smiled but swallowed people whole. Of a little girl who listened, drew maps, and pressed buttons that saved lives. When the judge spoke, his words felt like music. Margaret Matthews is hereby sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. Emma reached for my hand and squeezed. That was the last birthday my mother ever had. She celebrated her next one in a cold, gray prison cell. But me, I celebrated mine holding my daughter's hand. In a house full of real light. No secrets, no poison, just peace. She didn't just save my life. She ended a darkness that had lived in our family for generations. And as I tucked her in one night, she looked at me and said, "Mom, next time can we just have cake and cartoons?" I laughed. "Yes, sweetheart. Just cake and cartoons." End.